Seth Rollins will beat Roman Reigns and CM Punk at WrestleMania 41. The Rock is joining John Cena's corner at WWE WrestleMania 41. Drew McIntyre reveals his honest thoughts on the Triple H's era. Amid recent frustrations with the company, Cody Rhodes' brother shoots down a WWE return from AEW. What is the Ric Flair Act? A massive WWE legend will induct Triple H into the Hall of Fame. Rey Mysterio is set to do the unforgivable at WrestleMania 41. A WWE veteran gives up hope on Raw after John Cena's promo. CM Punk went off script during his promo on Raw. Let's dive right in. The Rock is joining John Cena's corner at WWE WrestleMania 41. John Cena and Cody Rhodes are in a fierce battle over the undisputed WWE Championship as WrestleMania 41 gets closer. Ever since Cena stunned everyone by turning bad at Elimination Chamber, he's been mad at the crowd, saying they pushed him to do it. Cody, the good guy known as the American Nightmare, fired back, accusing Cena of forgetting who he really is. But all through this wild fight, one big name has stayed quiet: The Rock. The Great One sparked Cena's dark turn in Toronto after Cody wouldn't sell his soul, and everyone thought he'd be a huge part of this story heading into the big event. So far, he's barely shown up, but with 4 weeks left, the final boss could still shake things up. Here's how The Rock might jump into John Cena vs. Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. Number 1. The Rock stands with John Cena at WrestleMania 41 and meets an old enemy. The Rock is super busy. He's a big-time actor and runs a bunch of businesses, so he's always on the go. That makes it tough for him to pop up on WWE shows all the time. Right now, it doesn't look like he'll be around as much as he was before WrestleMania 40. But since he's the one who kicked off this mess between Cena and Rhodes on the way to WrestleMania 41, he's got to show up for the big night. Imagine him standing in Cena's corner, making it harder for Cody to win and helping Cena grab his 17th world title. Even better, it could bring out Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock's old rival, to surprise everyone and level the playing field. Number 2. The final boss twists the rules for the title match at WrestleMania 41. Back when The Rock became the final boss before WrestleMania 40, he didn't just turn mean, he grabbed some serious power in WWE. He used it to make life tough for Cody Rhodes, but Cody still won with help from Cena and others against the Bloodline. Now, heading into WrestleMania 41, Cena's flipped sides and teamed up with The Rock. Since Cena sold his soul, The Rock could pull some strings and add a tricky rule to the championship match, giving his new buddy a better shot at that 17th title. What kind of rule? Who knows? This way, The Rock can stir the pot without stealing the spotlight from the main fight. Number 3. The Rock calls in help for John Cena against Cody Rhodes before WrestleMania 41. When Cena joined forces with The Rock at Elimination Chamber 2025, people started guessing about a mystery third man. Some thought The Rock was hinting at it with sneaky hand signals in Toronto, and names like Randy Orton or Austin Theory got tossed around. Nothing set yet, but with 4 weeks until the big show, The Rock could bring in someone to back Cena up. Or he might send old Bloodline guys like Solo Sikoa or Jacob Fatu to mess with Cody. Remember, Sikoa attacked Cody out of nowhere a few days before the Chamber, right after losing to Roman Reigns. This could tie that loose end into something big. Number 4. The Rock crashes WWE shows on the way to WrestleMania 41. Since 2025 started, The Rock has shown up 3 times on WWE's main shows. He kicked things off on Raw's Netflix debut, talking big before Tribal Combat, and later naming Roman Reigns the real Tribal Chief. Then, on February 21st, he showed up on SmackDown, asking Cody for his soul. It all exploded at Elimination Chamber when Cena teamed up with him to start this war with Cody. The 52-year-old hasn't been back since and isn't booked for anything soon. But with 4 weeks left, he could still drop in and light up the road to WrestleMania 41 like only he can. His surprise visits worked magic before WrestleMania 40, and they could do it again now. Drew McIntyre reveals his honest thoughts on the Triple H's era amid recent frustrations with the company. Drew McIntyre, a 2-time WWE champion, isn't holding back about how he feels under Triple H's control as WrestleMania 41 looms. The Scottish psychopath sat down and shared his real thoughts on the game's role as chief content officer and the guy calling the creative shots. Lately, Drew's been vocal about his anger over not getting a title match at WrestleMania. On top of that, he's annoyed that the crowd isn't giving him and Damian Priest a fair shot to build their storyline. With the road to WrestleMania heating up, Drew spilled the beans on the Untapped podcast about how Triple H runs things, saying the focus is all about telling real, gripping stories, something he thinks WWE should have done ages ago. Since Triple H took charge of the creative process, it's very much based in reality. These days, it's not just the good guys and the bad guys fighting each other like it used to be. It's very much real human emotions, and we have these 52 weeks to tell these compelling human stories, and we can do deeper layered characters and deeper layered storytelling as we should have done all along, McIntyre said. Over the past year, Drew's been tangled in some intense personal feuds. Last summer, he battled CM Punk head-on while also chasing payback against the Bloodline for wrecking his life years back. But missing out on the two big world title matches at WrestleMania 41, that's got him steamed. He was also counting on the crowd to back his story with Damian Priest, which goes way back to last year's WrestleMania. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't pissed off at not being in one of the title matches after the 2024 I had, but it's just because I'm so highly competitive and sometimes, there's only a few spots. I appreciated when the fans' reaction was, "Oh my goodness, it's Priest and Drew, there's nothing there." I'm like, bloody hell, give us a chance to tell the story. The thing with Priest has been going on since last year's WrestleMania when he cashed in on me after I was assaulted by CM Punk, McIntyre said in an interview with the Daily Star. Nothing's locked in yet, but it looks like Drew and Priest are headed for a showdown at WrestleMania in Las Vegas. Cody Rhodes' brother shoots down a WWE return from AEW. Dustin Rhodes has been a big part of AEW since joining in April 2019, and he's just crushed any hopes of going back to WWE. The ROH World Tag Team Champion once said he signed a long deal with AEW, planning to end his wrestling days there. When a fan on Twitter recently suggested he should return to WWE, Dustin shut it down fast, replying, "No, I am happy where I am at." Back in February 2025, Dustin shared that he's likely got about 3 years left before hanging up his boots, though he added, "Things change." Even if he's not itching to step back into WWE, he's still watching what's happening with his brother, Cody Rhodes. After Cody got jumped by John Cena at WWE Elimination Chamber, Dustin fired off a warning to everyone involved. Over in AEW, boss Tony Khan recently called Dustin a legendary wrestler, and it's easy to see why. He's not just one half of the ROH World Tag Team Champs with Sammy Guevara, he's also a World Six-Man Tag Team Champion with the Sons of Texas. That crew, made up of Marshall Von Erich, Ross Von Erich, Sammy Guevara, and Dustin, came together in August 2024. What is the Ric Flair Act? The Ric Flair Act is a proposed law in North Carolina that could lead to a new Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. Introduced on Monday, March 24, 2025, to the state Senate, it's officially called Senate Bill 404, or an act to remember iconic combatants through fostering learning awareness and interest in wrestling. The idea is to set aside $500,000 for the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources to dig into whether building a wrestling hall of fame in the state makes sense. They'd have to report back by summer 2026 with their findings. The act's name is a nod to Ric Flair, a wrestling legend who made a massive mark in North Carolina, especially through his time in the Mid-Atlantic territory of the National Wrestling Alliance. Back in the day, he was a regular in the state, wowing crowds as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Naming it after him feels like a way to honor how much he shaped wrestling there. Ral broke the story, highlighting how this could celebrate North Carolina's deep wrestling roots. Think of it as a tribute to the state's history in the ring, alongside icons like college basketball and NASCAR. Flair's legacy ties into this perfectly. He's not just a name, he's a symbol of wrestling's golden era. Take his epic rivalry with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in the late 80s and early 90s. Pure magic. Flair himself recently took to X, calling it the ultimate good guy versus bad guy tale. His loud, flashy style clashed with Steamboat's chill, steady vibe, pulling fans in like nothing else. He dubbed their matches the gold standard, and his daughter Charlotte Flair backed him up. That kind of history is why an act in his name feels right. It's about remembering the greats who made wrestling what it is. A massive WWE legend will induct Triple H into the Hall of Fame. Triple H, WWE's chief content officer, is stepping into the Hall of Fame class of 2025, and a wrestling old-timer has a bold guess about who will induct him. Known as the Cerebral Assassin, Triple H started with WWE back in the mid-90s. Inside the ring, he was a powerhouse, snagging 14 world titles over his career. Now at 55, he's the guy steering the creative ship. In January, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker pulled off a surprise at WWE headquarters, breaking the news to him that he'd be the top name in this year's Hall of Fame lineup. On the Behind the Turnbuckle, The Last Word podcast, Jonathan Coachman, who once stepped in as Raw's interim general manager, dropped his pick. Ric Flair, a two-time Hall of Famer, will be the one to usher Triple H into the elite group. "I think it's going to be Ric Flair," he said. On that same podcast, Coachman also tackled the idea of The Rock inducting Triple H. He shut it down quick. The former backstage interviewer dug into the messy history between the game and the final boss, saying there's no chance it'd happen. He'd already spilled some tea on a past episode, pointing out that despite any smiles they flash, the two can't stand each other. Well, you all saw that behind-the-scenes video at Elimination Chamber that they posted where they came back, and I love it when Triple H and The Rock are in the same space, because I know I've experienced how much they truly hate each other. And so, this whole notion that they're getting along these days is BS, Coachman said. Rey Mysterio is set to do the unforgivable at WrestleMania 41. After last night's Raw on March 24th, 2025, Rey Mysterio and his LWO crew are in a tough spot. They're clashing hard with American-made and their new buddy, the mysterious El Grande Americano, whose real face is still a secret. A lot of folks think Chad Gable's the guy under that mask, and that guess might push Mysterio to cross a line at WrestleMania 41. Could he really do something unthinkable? There's a good chance the answer's yes. With WrestleMania 41 creeping closer, it feels like WWE's setting up a big showdown between Rey Mysterio and Chad Gable. But here's the twist. Just like on Raw, Gable might dodge the fight and let El Grande Americano step in for him. Imagine this scene. Americano's in the ring, wrestling as Gable's stand-in. Rey, not buying it for a second, is dead sure it's Gable hiding behind the mask. The match builds to a wild finish, and Rey, the master of the 619, comes out on top. To prove he's right, he grabs the mask and yanks it off, ready to expose Gable. But then, bam, it's not Gable under there. The crowd gasps, and Rey's jaw drops as some other wrestler's face stares back at him. For a luchador like Mysterio, maybe the greatest ever, ripping off another luchador's mask is a massive no-no, a total disrespect to the culture he's built his life around. He'd be crushed, and that could be exactly what Gable wanted all along, a mind game to break him. Now, this is all just a theory for now. The idea that El Grande Americano isn't Chad Gable isn't set in stone. When that masked guy first showed up a few weeks back, crashing the New Day versus LWO match and blindsiding Rey, everyone pointed fingers at Gable. It seemed obvious. But then, backstage on Raw, Kathy Kelly grilled Gable about it, and right as he was denying it, security hauled Americano out. Proof Gable wasn't the guy in the mask at that moment. It's a curveball that keeps everyone guessing. Maybe Gable's playing a deeper game, or maybe it's someone else entirely pulling the strings. We won't know the truth until the story plays out. For now, it's all up in the air. Will Rey really commit that unforgivable act at WrestleMania 41, or will the mask stay on? Time's the only one that'll tell. A WWE veteran gives up hope on Raw after John Cena's promo. John Cena, the 16-time world champion, stepped into the ring on this week's Raw in Glasgow, Scotland, and set the place on fire, for better or worse. The Cenation leader kicked off the show with a smirk, gloating about how he'd ripped into a kid in the crowd the week before. The Scottish fans weren't having it, showering him with boos as he kept up his smug rant. Then Cody Rhodes stormed out, grabbed the mic, and tore into Cena, firing back with everything he had. It was a clash that had the building buzzing, but not everyone's sold on where this is headed. Vince Russo, a former WWE head writer, broke it all down on the latest Legion of Raw podcast from Sportskeeda Wrestling. He's not impressed. Russo thinks WWE's playing it too safe with Cena's big heel turn, saying it's the same old routine every week. Nothing fresh, nothing bold. He's worried it won't pull in new fans or keep the casual ones hooked. To him, the creative team's stuck in a rut, churning out predictable stuff that's not worth getting worked up over anymore. I am so spent on burying this product. There's no reason to bury it anymore. This is the typical show. This is the show, guys. This is what you're going to get. I'm not going to come out here and bury it every week. I know what I'm going to get every week. I know what it's going to be. Do I get paid to watch it? Yes, I do. But there's no point. This is the show. This is what they're doing. This is it, Russo said. WrestleMania 41's just a few weeks away now, and the excitement's building. With the biggest event of the year closing in, all eyes are on WWE to see how they'll stack the card. Will they shake things up, or stick to the same playbook Russo's tired of? We'll find out soon enough. CM Punk went off script during his promo on Raw. CM Punk's got a reputation as one of the sharpest talkers WWE's ever seen. The guy they call the voice of the voiceless has always said what's on his mind, and this week on Raw, it looks like he did it again. Wrestling old-timer Vince Russo thinks Punk veered off the plan during his big promo. On the show, the Second City Saint was talking up his huge WrestleMania 41 match against Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. He dropped the news that the three of them would sign the contract for it on SmackDown this week, but the crowd wasn't happy about that. They let him hear it, and Punk didn't just ignore them, he called it out. Vince Russo, breaking it down on Sportskeeda Wrestling's Legion of Raw, couldn't figure out why Punk bothered to point out the obvious. The former WWE head writer said Punk's promo didn't bring anything new to the table, just the same stuff he's been saying for weeks, plus a weird moment where he leaned into the fans' boos. Punk cut a promo where he said nothing, and I don't know why he would point this out, but they mentioned the contract signing is going to be in London, and the people booed, and Punk basically said, "Yeah, bro, that's because you wanted it right here. I would boo too." He's stating the obvious of what we say every single week, Russo said. That wasn't all Punk stirred up, though. He also dropped a hint about teaming up with Paul Heyman. The two-time WWE champ reminded everyone that the wise man owes him a favor, and he might just call it in as WrestleMania 41 gets closer. Looks like Punk's keeping things unpredictable, on script or not. Seth Rollins will beat Roman Reigns and CM Punk at WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania 41 is shaping up to be Seth Rollins' big chance to bounce back. Last year at the huge event, things didn't go his way. The Visionary teamed up with Cody Rhodes, but lost to Roman Reigns and The Rock in a tag match. Then, Drew McIntyre took the World Heavyweight title from him. Now, Rollins is out to show what he's made of, and that means taking down Roman Reigns and CM Punk in a triple threat match. It's a tall order, but there are clues pointing to the architect coming out on top, against the best in the world and the only tribal chief in Las Vegas. Here's why Seth Rollins could walk away the winner at WrestleMania 41. One big thing everyone's wondering about is Paul Heyman. Will he stick with Roman Reigns or switch to CM Punk? Punk's already messing with Reigns' head, dropping hints about Heyman's loyalty. This tug-of-war between Punk and Reigns could get so heated that they're too busy with each other to notice Rollins. That's when Seth could swoop in. He's got a knack for spotting a chance like that and turning it into gold, something he's done time and again. To most WWE fans, Seth Rollins feels like the long shot in this triple threat match. He's facing two giants, Roman Reigns and CM Punk, who've got the crowd split between them. But that's what makes a Rollins win so perfect. An underdog taking out two of the company's heaviest hitters, that's the kind of story that gets people talking. Everyone loves a comeback, and Seth pulling this off would be one for the books. Then there's the wild card, Paul Heyman again. At 59, the Wiseman's got everyone guessing about his next move. What if he flips the script, ditches Reigns, skips Punk, and throws in with Seth instead? If Heyman turns bad and backs Rollins, it'd be a game changer. Seth could snag the win with that kind of help, and pairing up with Heyman might kick his career into overdrive. The former champ could ride that boost right back to the top, maybe even chasing a world title again soon.